Welcome back to A Little Bit of Cheese, your bite-sized Wisconsin sports podcast. It is Monday, December 15th, 2025, and it is a very Monday here in the state of Wisconsin. Yesterday, the Packers dropping a rough one to Denver, but that's honestly the least of anybody's concerns right now. Going into that game, I kind of just had the idea that they were probably going to lose to this Broncos team that would be able to exploit the holes. And coming out of this one, a lot more holes were created than we would have thought going into it. And I'll kind of just let you take it away here, Sam, but the loss is not what sucks from yesterday. Micah Parsons tore his ACL. Christian Watson is banged up. His dad thinks he's fine, so I guess that's a good sign if you check out Twitter. But injuries galore, and Green Bay without their captain on defense.
Yeah, Micah Parsons' ACL is torn. That's terrible. He was so important to the defense. He was everything for the defense. He was the entire identity of the defense. Yeah, let's just right off the rip. How about a Monday starting off the pod with a torn ACL? That's how all of Wisconsin is starting their week right now. We had 0-degree days and broken hearts today. He was the entire defense, man. This Packers defense, I texted you right away. We are just cursed. We are never going to get a pass rush with four guys. It's never happened my entire life. We thought we had a little bit of BJ Raji motion for a minute until he retired. We thought we had a little bit of Micah Parsons. Clay Matthews was a fun couple of years. We're just not going to get, and even Clay at his peak when he was pass rushing the best was our fifth guy. We're just never, we're doomed. We're never going to get a pass rush with four. The cornerbacks are not good enough to have a crappy pass rush. I mean, Keyshawn Nixon was getting absolutely cooked by Cortland Sutton. Yeah. It was never a matchup to begin with. You and I both know any decent wide receiver one can cook any one of our man coverage corners. And that's why Micah Parsons was so darn important to us. Cody, last week we were talking about dynasties. I was saying who's going to stop the Packers. And this might have been my fault because I feel like we're back just complaining about Lucas Van Ness again, man. Is that where we are? Are we just back to complain about Lucas Van Ness and Karen?
Hey, I see Van Ness like at least moving people, where Rashawn Gary just literally sits down.
But that's the conversation that we have now. Is we have to go back to saying, yeah, Lucas Van Ness is moving. He's fine. I saw a pass rush. Like times were so good this year. We had a pass rush. We had Micah Parsons. There was a play right. I think the quarter before he got injured. And he got held a little bit, and Rashawn Gary was chasing Bo Nix around the corner, and then you see Micah Parsons come out of nowhere and fly past Rashawn Gary, and he just made Gary look like a non-athlete, and that's who we had for a little bit. Micah Parsons, Cody, I got a stat for you. I got a fun stat right off the rip. Micah Parsons this year, 66 pass rush wins. The next five guys combined on the Packers, 67.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, he was the defense. Like, the Green Bay had a top 5 defense in the NFL this year, and now you're probably bottom 15 in the league. Like, you're probably in the bottom half of the NFL defensively. He made everybody better. He helps. I know Quay Walker really took a step this year, I think, personally, but Quay Walker is like in actual Pro Bowl consideration, where last year I think we literally said that we were done with the Quay Walker experiment. We said we were done with the Lucas Van Ness experiment, and now you're at a point where I have no idea how this defense can hold up. Like you said, the cornerback talent there's a lot missing. Carrington Valentine, I think, can hold his own against a number 2 wide receiver. I think Carrington Valentine is a starter in this league. And Keyshawn Nixon, I think, was a true beneficiary of not letting anybody get downfield because of the pass rush. If anybody gets anywhere downfield on Keyshawn Nixon, they're wide open. Like, he can press, and that's about it. And that's where he could play the slot. But downfield coverage is just abysmal with Nixon. I can't stand to watch it at times. I mean, we're really tearing into guys who have exceeded expectations. And don't get me wrong, they had a lot of help with the pass rush, but I'm just showing you that that was the hole going into it this year. And now you're going to see these guys, they have to step up or it's going to be ugly. And Jordan Love is going to have to be literal Superman for this team to be able, I think, even to get into the playoffs at this point. That might be a wild statement, or it might seem like it, but Chicago does not feel good on Saturday. I do not have a great feeling about that game. Baltimore does not feel good about it. I mean, you're smiling because they'll probably find a way to beat them because that's just what happens with the Chicago Bears. But right now, I do not feel good. The Bears took it to Cleveland. They took it to a team that Green Bay, with Micah Parsons, and all they had going and all the momentum in the beginning of the season, could not get it done against a terrible, terrible Browns team. Where Chicago, they put 31 on them. Like Jordan Love and that offense could not do that at that point. The defense played fine, but that's where the problem lies. Christian Watson is needed on this offense, or they just look dead. They can't stretch the field at all. Nobody gets open. The offensive line is banged up. Rasheed Walker is a third-string left tackle at this point. Cannot stay away from penalties. Can't block anybody to save a soul. Which, this is all negative. And I'm going to foreshadow, there's a shot here. Like, your name here on the Zoom call is "The World Is Not Ending," and I kind of want to echo that as well. And we're all reel this back, and I'll let you go here in a bit, Sam, but I'll kind of start off. You can go back to last year. This team was toe-to-toe against Philadelphia with essentially the exact same roster and a banged-up Jordan Love.
Yeah,
I think Jeff Hafley himself can be that much of an X factor to make this defense look competitive. I think he can make them look like a top 10 defense even without Micah Parsons. With Micah Parsons, it was a scary defense that I think on its own could carry you to a Super Bowl if you had a somewhat relevant running game. Now you don't have that, and you're going to need Jordan Love to step up and be a superhero, which I think is in him. I think that player is there. No, I don't think he's Aaron Rodgers, but I think he could get on a heater that gives this team an actual chance. It seems like a real long shot where just 2 days ago, the word Super Bowl felt like you're not talking about enough of them. Super Bowl was a reality that we were talking about. Now it's a little bit more of a long shot, but that's kind of where my overall thoughts are right now. Where does this team still give you hope at this point?
No, I 100% agree with what you said there about this. It's a lot of the same team that we had last year. I mean, a little bit of injury. Like, we didn't trade. Draft picks was the biggest capital that we gave up. Kenny Clark, great player, great run stopper, big guy in the middle, big body in the middle. An injury could happen. So you just take last year's defense and you take Kenny Clark off of it. That's what we have. I mean, it's a lot of the same guys. We just gave up draft picks for Micah. That's why it was so shocking that we got him, because we didn't even give up much. Obviously loved Kenny Clark. We didn't give up much to get Micah freaking Parsons. So it's a lot of that same defense, but I don't think we were ever going to compete for a Super Bowl last year. We were a good team that showed promise, and then Micah took us over the edge to be like, oh, now we're a Super Bowl team. We weren't. There was complaints about the defensive line, the offensive line, and skinny. What are we doing with all the wide receivers? Jordan Love can be really good. I agree. Jordan Love's step up has been fantastic. He looks more calm, cool, collected. He passes the eye test 100%. He's not turning it over as much. Pat Surtain, that's just the defensive player of the year making a defensive player of the year type of interception. Ball could have been maybe 2 feet in front. I think Surtain would have been there no matter what.
On most corners, I think Watson catches that ball.
I think on all other corners in the NFL, any other DB in the NFL, we know Xavier McKinney would not have picked it off even if it hit him in the hands.
Yes.
Surtain made a heck of a play. But what I'm getting at is you need these game-changing players, and we've talked about this a couple times, is like the elite of the elite can take you over the edge. I heard a fun stat. Lane Johnson with the Eagles has been out a little bit, and they lost three in a row. They ended up winning this past week, but before that, they lost
Mhm.
three in a row since Lane Johnson went out. The Eagles' record with Lane Johnson. This isn't a quarterback. This isn't star running back. I know I'm drawing a little comparisons off lineman to defensive lineman, but Eagles' record with Lane Johnson is 120 and 62 and 1. Without him, it's 15 and 27.
Wow.
That's huge. And that's just one play. You take out
Yeah.
one elite of an elite type of player. I don't care where it is on the ball. All of a sudden, you got a big hole on your team, and you go from an okay team to a Super Bowl level team. Um, and it's just you can't replace a guy like Micah Parsons. You can't replace a guy like Lane Johnson. And I think we have a touchdown and win the game if Surtain isn't out there. The 99 overall guys need to be out there.
Yep. Yeah, and I think Micah Parsons was, if not a 99, he was a 98, where Myles Garrett's the only 99 that you can give. Or Myles Garrett, I think, might be 100 right now.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's guys have to step up. You need Carrington Valentine to play like a cornerback one. You need Keyshawn to just stop getting burnt like toast. The linebackers need to play. Ed Cooper needs to be the player that you expected going into the year.
Big fourth down stop from him. Two of them. The last two fourth downs were both Edgerrin Cooper stepping up. Again, that's your playmaking player making plays.
Right. And McKinney, he dropped 2 interceptions. He put himself in the position to make those plays. McKinney's had a good year, except there have been a collective 8 seconds in Xavier McKinney's season that he probably wants to have back. And they're all at moments where he is going to try to catch a pass. Which
isn't that's the tough thing. They say being a cornerback in the NFL is the hardest job in the world because the difference of him just catching those balls 2 or 3 times is the difference between him being the best DB in the league and us calling him bums on a Monday podcast.
Millions of dollars. I'm going to complain at the unit as a whole for just not catching interceptions because this year it's been an entire problem. Valentine, I believe, dropped 2 as well, or is in position for a couple as well, and that's been all season. So I'm not going to rip into McKinney. He's just make the big one, I'll say. If it comes down to it in the playoffs and he drops these 2 on a Sunday just yesterday, go make a play in the playoffs. Make sure you catch it then when it's super important, and then we can completely forget about all of this. But opportunities are left out there for the defense, and they have to take advantage of them if they want to go out and give themselves an actual chance at making a deep playoff run. And I'll say it once again, it's got to be Jordan Love. The line doesn't look great. First half, we were talking probably about Jordan Love MVP for real at the end of that first half because he was cutting through that defense like they were butter, and he is the hot knife. It was awesome. And pretty much up until, it was Watson that started it, that play that Surtain made. Surtain. I've heard it pronounced both ways, but I'm hearing a lot more Surtain.
PS2 is a sweet nickname. Happy to roll with that.
Yeah, PS2. Yeah, I like that. But when Watson went down, you kind of felt the energy sucked out a little bit. And then just shortly after when Parsons got hurt, everything fell apart at the seams. There was no energy, and I personally didn't expect for that team to go win the game. I think they were up 2 scores when it happened, but you just knew that team watched their best player go down, and how difficult is it to be in the spot where you are right there looking towards the 1 seed. And I mean, Seattle was about to lose, LA was about to lose, neither of those teams did, but you're looking at being a number 1 seed in the NFC and then watching your defense, the guy, go down like that. We're all human. And you either fall a little flat or you can kind of spark up after that. Well, the team as a whole fell flat. Love ends up with 2 interceptions on the day. Like you said, one was just a play by Surtain. The other, he threw a little bit behind Wicks. I mean, it hit Wicks in the hands, but it wasn't a great throw. You would hope that it doesn't get tipped up in the air, but it did. And maybe collectively you give him 1 interception, if we're just rating it. like 2 half interceptions equals 1 interception, but he's gotten lucky on a couple others this year. So, I mean, he's at
Well,
6 this year, but it's still overall just he's a guy he can put the team on his back, and he's going to have to really carry it.
and he had an opportunity yesterday. I mean, losing Micah was awful, but we had two fourth downs and the ball in
Yeah.
our hands a couple times, down one possession. Yeah, it was eight. It was to, you push it to overtime with a 2-point conversion, but Micah going down didn't lose us the game. Jordan Love did. You can't take
Oh,
sacks on fourth.
that offensive line was a colander. He
It
had
was.
no time.
I don't, your offensive line can be five kindergartners. You can't take a sack on fourth down in the fourth quarter like that, and he did it twice. You got to know to put the ball up, do something. You can't take a sack. He took a sack on what should have been the last play that he had on the field, and then he did it again with when he needed it most. You can't take a sack on fourth down like that, and it was just disappointing. Yeah, all the air was sucked out.
Yeah.
But it just showed again. This team it's a momentum team, and we're gonna need to find some new momentum here.
Yeah. And it's easy to take the blame away from Jordan. I don't know. He got hit on the blind side on both of them. Like there was Rasheed Walker got blown up, and Love barely even had a time to look that way. I don't even know if he did, but it was, I don't know. They didn't give him a second. Love needed to chuck it up in the air, and I mean that's something that we have been telling him not to do. I know fourth down situation you're supposed to, but yeah, I think in that moment he's trying to get out somewhere and roll outside, but when both sides collapse and you get tackled by two guys, it's kind of hard to step up or away or out. I just watched everything collapse. I don't know.
I think he
I
tried.
saw
to
it
step,
happen
looked
right
like he
off
tried
of
to
the
step
snap.
up in
I
one of
was,
them. I don't know. It looked like he tried to step up on one of them. I'm not sure if it was the first or second one. And one of them he was fighting someone. I mean, there's not a lot of time back there, but I mean,
Yeah.
with heavy is the head, right? And now it's
Yeah.
on.
It's
Now it's on
fourth
Jordan Love.
down. You got to get rid of it. Yeah,
$60
that's the
million
bottom line.
dollars.
Yeah, you do. So you hope that he can, and that those adjustments can be made. Not a lot of help from the rest of the unit as a whole, especially after Watson went down. But I think what we've seen here since Watson came back, he has made himself so much money because he is so valuable to this offense. And Tony Romo mentioned it on Sunday. Like it's a different team when he's out there on the field and when he's not. And it doesn't always show up in the stat sheet, and we talked about it last year, but he truly is one of your top 3 most valuable players on that offense. I think so. I think Green Bay's going to have to pay him. I think he's that valuable.
I want to talk about the wide receiving core for a little bit here. I completely agree. The value of Christian Watson is up there. He's shown himself to be, wide receiver one level. It has a bigger route tree than just these go routes when we know he can run past anybody other than PS2. Even he did have him by half a step.
Yeah.
Jaguars put up 48 points this week. Scrolling through, looking at the week box scores and all that jazz. The Jaguars receiving core, I don't need to go through all the names, but just looking at them, 3 catches for 73, 5 catches for 71, 4 for 66, 3 for 53. And I'm looking at that, I'm like, wow, that's really impressive. And I start shaking my head because, Cody, that doesn't happen very much. And I think that's what the Packers think that they're able to do when they're spreading the ball around this much. They think they're going to get this product that the Jaguars took 48 points, and a career day from Trevor Lawrence. And it happens once a year. I'm looking at the receiving box score. I'm like, I feel like that's what the Packers think that they're able to do when it's just receiving by committee. But really, that happens, a box score like that happens a couple times a year when you get 4 or 5 guys all around 50 yards. And it just doesn't happen. Like, it was kind of frustrating to see that. I just want Tucker Kraft and Christian Watson back, man. This receiving by committee is I was down on it from the start.
Sam, I'm going to break it to you. It's never going away. Like that's the bottom. That's not going away. As long as Matt LaFleur is your coach, it won't. Like they've shown that time and time and time again. They have proven that they are not going to give a one status. I think Kraft was getting there just like, and he could do it with the lower amount of targets because of what he could do after the catch. He didn't need that many targets because in the few that he did, he was going to wreck a game. And that's where your guys are needing to step up. I mean, Dontavian Wicks is an example here where he at times looks like he could be the guy. And then there are other games where it's Dontavian. What are you doing out there? Like the hands are off. You're running the wrong route. And this has happened with multiple guys. Like just wrong routes down the field. And you've seen it on a couple of the weird throws from Jordan where you look at Jordan Love and you're like, where were you throwing it? He was throwing it where he was supposed to throw it very oftentimes. And the receiver's running the wrong route. So I'd love for there to be a Devontae Adams, like a 2017 Devontae Adams on this team, but there's not.
Just a trusted guy. I mean, we saw in moments when they needed it. Bo Nix looked for man on man. Who's got Cortland Sutton? Oh, it's Keyshawn Nixon. I don't care what he's doing. I'm throwing the ball over there.
you could
just someone
you
who
could put a target on someone's back there, but
just someone who can beat someone no matter what. You see press coverage and you're like, I got a guy who I know I can go to, and just I don't know, the seeing the Jaguars box score kind of rattled me because I feel like that's what we're trying to do, and it's just not that possible in the NFL.
It's who they play?
Oh, some scrub, the Jets.
Yeah, I mean, Green Bay's done it against bad teams too. I could go back and find you box scores where the numbers look like that, but it's I don't know. There have been games where I mean, he had a couple of third down looks and he executed. I mean, every single one of these guys can do the job. They just need to find a way to be consistent. That's the frustrating point. Where when guys are there and they're getting open, which when Christian Watson's on the field, well, when he's not on the field, they're not getting open. Yeah. And that's what you saw towards the end of the day. And Jordan Love, with little amount of time, didn't give a lot of opportunities to get anybody open. It was, I don't know, we saw everything deflate. I think the loss sucks, but what sucks more is, of course, what you're losing or what is being added to the injury report. It's going to take something really special, something really funky for this team to have a chance. Like, I'm going to just say that.
How about a segue for you? The Packers receiving core is just kind of like the Brewers bullpen. We're never actually just going to pay a chunk of people.
Why would you? You don't need to.
And that's fine with me. I think Zerpa's going to be a good addition.
Yeah. I mean, spending money in a bullpen is just wasted money, in my opinion. I mean, LA did it and they didn't pay any of their bullpen. They didn't even have a bullpen. They had starters that were their second line of starters that they threw in the bullpen and they won a World Series with it. You just need guys that can be effective in those big moments, and that's what it is. And that's exactly what the receivers are too. You just need the guys that are going to be there in those big moments. And yesterday they were not. And I don't know, we're really, if Micah Parsons did not get hurt, I don't know if we'd be talking about this loss quite like we are, because Denver played really well, too. Denver played a really good football game.
Oh, Bo Nix looked awesome, dude. He looked awesome.
That defense is, they can bring it. Surtain is so valuable. The line, the front seven, they're there. Denver's going to make a run at this thing. This is not a fluky 12-2. It's not what we saw last year with Minnesota. This is a real team, I think, that has a chance to win the AFC. And they played their game at home yesterday. Yeah, they got down in the first half. They were down a couple scores in the third quarter, but took advantage of a team being down when Green Bay lost Micah Parsons. And they went out and did it. So we're having this conversation about how bad Green Bay played. They looked great for 2.5 quarters yesterday. They were awesome. It was just the big moments after you lost your star player.
Yeah, we got hope yet. Offense got to step up. Just got to put 30 up every single game. 35, maybe. 40 would be cool.
Easy enough. Hey, and I was explaining it to Bree. Bree did not watch a lot of Aaron Rodgers football.
Oh, he would have got it done, Cody. He would have got it done twice.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's not the situation we're at. And that's what I explained to Bree, where when Micah got hurt, I was like, it was a good year, I guess. It was fun. All the hopes that we had through 14 weeks, but they're kind of gone. And in that moment, you felt them wash away, where when you had Aaron Rodgers, a moment like that is like, well, that sucks, but you got 12, so you have a chance. And that's where I can hear your argument with the Bucks and Giannis Antetokounmpo, because when he's out there, there's a chance,
Yeah.
and when he's not, they could lose by 40 to Brooklyn.
Oh my
And
gosh.
so Jordan Love, we know you're the franchise guy. We've all accepted it, unless you're just one of those people on Facebook that shouldn't be allowed to type. I mean, you're illiterate enough. I'm surprised you can even type. But Jordan Love is your franchise quarterback. He's going to be here. He's good. He's in the top half of the league, people, probably in the top 10. Are you going to be someone who ends with his name up there in Lambeau? And this is a kind of season that helps dictate that. When your star player on defense goes down, what happens with 1-0 on the other side of the ball? How does he do it? How does that offense overtake what you're losing on the defense? Can they?
Big statement game Saturday night in Chicago, Cody. If we can
Yes.
if we can go into Chicago and kick some Bears ass, be 5-0 in the division, I think that's a lot of juice, a lot of momentum for this team. I wouldn't want the first round bye. I would want us to, play for something. We just saw the Colts play well with Philip freaking Rivers, which
Yeah.
love it.
So
Love
excited.
it. That's so cool. But, we lost to the Browns. We lost to the Panthers. The NFL is tough. Everybody's really freaking good. You get a bunch of guys juiced up and motivated, playing for something. World is not ending.
World's not ending, but the chances of hoisting a trophy went a lot slimmer yesterday. But the chances are still there. And that's the way I'll put it. So, yeah, we'll keep watching the games. They're going to give you a chance. We'll see if Jordan Love is a reason to believe in this team. Like, it needs to be him. And he needs to put that leader hat on. He needs to be the general. And he needs to lead the boys into battle. That'll be it for our Packers talk. We'll move into the Brewers. You mentioned it about the bullpen. Milwaukee making a trade with Kansas City. They've been trade partners on a lot of occasions in the last 20 years of the franchise history. But Nick Mears and Isaac Collins on their way to Kansas City, and in return, Angel Zerpa, left-handed reliever. Instant reactions to this trade, Sam.
Instant reaction was, why are we trading Isaac Collins? And I think that's fair because he did so many good things for us, and what a cool season the Brewers had. And Isaac Collins is, the guy hitting the walk-off in a couple of the clips when you're going to rewatch the highlight reel from the 2025 Brewers. Isaac Collins is featured more than a few times. Awesome outfielder, played his role extremely well. And then you think about it and you realize we got 4 other Isaac Collins at home.
Isaac Collins at home.
Yeah, I love the guy. Switch hitting, does everything. I also am really, really stoked to see more Garrett Mitchell. Sal Frelick is not losing his job anytime soon. And Jackson Chourio, we've said it, has MVP potential. So I don't know which one of those guys you really want sitting. And Blake Perkins has, stepped in and does his job. And Christian Yelich is still going to get some reps out there as long as he's an athlete.
And Jake Bowers can play outfield, and they just signed Akil Baddoo.
Yeah, and I'm gonna trust the Brewers on when they see it and they say, hey, this middle reliever has some stuff that we think we can get more out of him. I feel like I've seen that story before. We also raised some eyebrows at Nestor Cortez last year, and we were right to do so. So we're not batting 1,000 on picking up these pitchers, but I think Serpa guy, it sounds like he has some stuff that can play. He just has to put it all together.
Yeah, it's nasty. It's 97. It has sink. It is in the 99th percentile of ground ball rate. It's exactly the kind of pitcher that Chris Hook wants to get his hands all over, and he's gonna get his hands all over Angel Zerpa. Clip that, please, Sam. But it's Isaac Collins had a couple of really good months last year, but when he was not hitting, boy, he was cold as ice. When he got into the playoffs, he barely even gotten at bat. It was he was darn near unplayable towards the end of it, and you saw the peak of Isaac Collins. Like, it's sad to say, Kansas City is in dire outfield need. Like, they needed help really bad. They actually had a negative WAR as an outfield unit last year, so they were going to be able to take anybody. But Collins, the defense that you saw early on, where you're like, this kid can do it, by the end of the year, that had dissipated, where he was a negative defender, and hitting-wise, not a lot of power. Your contact started to dissipate. The contact just wasn't there. And I I don't know. He's a really good player for a couple of months. Gave us a lot of really great memories in the best season in Milwaukee Brewers history. And that's where he's going to stand in the lore. And maybe it all ends with him being traded for one of the best relievers in all of baseball next year. And maybe that's how we remember it.
And
Because
he is.
there's a possibility out there that Angel Zerpa is a freak.
It's possible. And I tell you what, just the Brewers fans are really good at this no matter what, but he's going to get one hell of a standing O when he comes back to Milwaukee.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, he will. He deserves it. And Nick Mears, thank you for that one inning against the New York Mets in that wild card
Yeah.
series. Because that was electric. Like I've never seen a guy that pumped up out on a mound like in a wild card series. And Nick Mears, he did it for one inning and had a good year last year until the last couple of outings. So in Matt Arnold we trust, and the rest of the winter meetings we march on. We'll transition now into the cheese grater. Sam, I know you said you got a couple of fun ones. I'll let you kick it off.
Yeah, I got two fun ones. Both are shouting out Philip Rivers right now because I just love what's going on so much. Especially him coming out like with an extra 40 pounds in the gut and is still playing volleyball, almost taking down Seattle. That's really cool. So if you could unretire someone and bring them onto the Packers, I know I've asked you this before, but you get them as they are right now. Bring a former Packer in, not in his prime, as he is right now. Who you bring it onto the team?
Bring a former Packer, so he can't be active on
Can't be
another
active.
roster.
Can't be
Okay.
active.
Let's see who. Ooh, I think this is easy. As is. So I think of how much corner help you need. That's where my mind goes. I mean, I'd love to bring on a lineman, but it's I don't know. The guys they don't keep their size usually after. Like you need a guy to eat up the interior, but I don't know how BJ Raji is. He's not really out there in the media. He could have lost 200 pounds and I would have no idea. I think I would go Charles Woodson just because I feel like he would find a way to do it anyway because he was just always kind of that athletic freak. I mean, he played up until he was 40. He was returning kicks when he was 40. Like he couldn't have lost that much since then. So he would be your punt return specialist at least because oh my goodness, special teams. Another fire Rich Bisaccia moment once again this past week.
My Lord, yeah. Sorry, I tried to trauma block that out of my memory. I'm kind of mad.
Yeah, only mention of that. That's fine. Yeah, I'm gonna go Charles Woodson. What's the answer for you?
I think that's a really good answer. I didn't think of one personally. I think Woodson is one of those like all-time just like athletic freaks. I think he could have gone. He's one of those kids that picked up a ball and it worked for him. He was a wide receiver, kick returner. I think probably could have been a pro basketball player, soccer player, whatever he wanted to do. I think Woodson could probably play.
Yeah. I think Jordy Nelson would also come to mind there too, because I know he's throwing hay bales somewhere. Like he's in shape. Like
Oh,
you
know,
just
Greg
know.
Jennings is like a bodybuilder right now, isn't he?
You know, he's dead to us. Greg Jennings, what he has said about Green Bay as a franchise, like he can't come back. So only reason against him. So Sam, right now, for a lot of people, feels like Super Bowl hopes are out the window. Come up with a scenario that actually gives this team a chance to get to a Super Bowl. I'll just say that. How do you get through the NFC?
I don't want to say any bad juju, so maybe Matthew Stafford gets really bad at football. I think there's only one wagon in the NFC. If we're gonna assume that Sam Darnold is gonna go back to being Sam Darnold at some point, which it looks like he's on his way.
Yep.
It runs through the Rams right now. The Eagles can put it together, but the NFC runs through the Rams right now. I don't trust Chicago. I think Detroit needs to stay out of the playoffs, and Matthew Stafford needs to remember that he's played in the NFL for a really long time.
Who do you think Green Bay is better than even without Micah Parsons out of those top NFC teams? Who do you think they could beat right now?
I think they can beat the Rams right now. I think they can beat, that's the offense. It's a high ceiling team. Packers are still a very high ceiling team. The Halfley defense is going to bend but not break. We're going to see teams walk all over us, and the Broncos did. If you can dink and dunk, and throw short passes to work down the field, I think you're going to beat the Packers no problem. But we're going to live off of turnovers. So when McKinney gets those opportunities, he has to pick them off, and that's how we're going to be set up. So we're going to get eaten up, but if we can make turnovers, we can still beat anyone. But it's just it runs through the Rams right now, the way I see it.
Yeah, fair enough.
Philip Rivers question number 2. Let's play a game. Was he good? Philip Rivers, after his first 2 seasons as a starter, we're going to eliminate those because I think he was just warming up to the league. 12 years as a professional, 13 seasons, age 27 through 39. Philip Rivers, how many of those seasons did he throw for 4,000 or more yards? Over the 13, his main 13 seasons in the NFL.
So I know there was a rough year that last year in San Diego. Might have even been LA at that point. But I know I looked at the Pro Football Reference because I just had to. His last year in the NFL with Indy was a good year. I'm going to say 12 out of those 13.
Ding, ding, ding. Cody, you nailed it. Philip Rivers checks out as good. He had 12 seasons out of his 13. His first 2 seasons, he threw for 3,000 plus. He was actually a Pro Bowler his first season as a starter. Didn't hit that 4,000 mark. But yeah, other than that one crappy year in San Diego, 12 out of his 13 years, he's a chucker. He's a certified chucker. And he's been getting a lot of flack for he doesn't need to worry about his Hall of Fame bid anyways. Dude, Philip Rivers kind of certified.
Yeah, Philip Rivers led a lot of top 5 offenses in the NFL, like for a lot of years. There was a year that they had the number 1 offense and number 1 defense and still missed the playoffs. Like people forget how unlucky San Diego was. But my favorite story, I think, with Philip Rivers and why he's starting right now. So him and Indy, who's their head coach's name? Shane Steichen. Him and Steichen had a text chain every week. So Philip Rivers was coaching his son's high school football team. He ran the exact same offense as the Indianapolis Colts. So him and Steichen would talk about the system via text every week. And that's why Rivers is able to step in and look like a competent NFL quarterback at the age of 44 after not touching a ball since we first learned about COVID-19. Like it's crazy stuff. I love Philip. Actually, my mom's NFL crush. I always remembered that as a child.
Oh like, God. Big Phil.
Don't ask why. I don't know. I just know we were Chargers fans usually on Sundays for a little bit. But yeah, no, he's one of the good guys of the NFL, a legend, and should have got a win. Really should have got a win on Sunday. Had some bad luck go their way. But it's been a fun episode on a not fun day here in the state of Wisconsin, but the pod lives on, the game lives on, and the Packers have an opportunity to wash a lot of tears away on Saturday if they could take down to Chicago. So we'll see if that can happen. We'll talk about it next week when we see you once again for another edition of A Little Bit of Cheese, your bite-sized Wisconsin sports podcast.